lovelies, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jasmine and this is the Proud Protea. Thank you for joining me again, and I'm so sorry that it's taken me this long to upload another video. If anybody's seen on the news, Cyclone Gabriel passed through Aotearoa, New Zealand, and it hit many places, one of them being Hawke's Bay, which is the area that I live in. Napier, again, little city that I stay in, was completely shut off from the rest of New Zealand, so it has been pretty hectic. Thankfully we are safe. The flood water stopped a couple of roads down from my house. We did have 2 evacuation notices, and it's partly the reason why I'm actually sitting in my dining room and recording this, because my little girl Evelyn, which is 2, is grown this fear of being alone. So if you hear her moaning in the background, apologies. If you hear JJ from Cocomelon, we're just going to roll with it, because that's what we said we're going to do this year. I do have a list, and don't be stressed because it's just me making the font really big so I can see what I've written down here. It has been a minute. So to start off, if you hear the paper in the background, again, it's me trying to remember all my notes. Yes, so for those of you who don't know, we have been in New Zealand for 5 months, and our boxes arrived recently, which is very exciting. It was wow, and it was even more wow because we couldn't actually remember half of the contents of the boxes, because we actually put it in storage over 9 months ago, with being in complete limbo, waiting for our visas to come over. So they finally arrived before it flooded. So amazing. And one of my followers suggested something for a video, and it was, forgot about that, I've missed that, and I can't believe I packed that. So along with my projects in the time being, I wish that I had more time to crochet at the time that I actually spent at home. I spent over a week at home because we were blocked off. But unfortunately, I didn't actually get a lot of crochet time, because with having no electricity, my little one needed my attention 24/7, and as I mentioned, she didn't want to be left alone. So we played, and it was lovely. So our hearts and thoughts do go to those people that weren't as lucky as us, and also a great thanks to the kindness that we received in that time, because it was just out of this world, and it brings a small sense of faith in humanity for me. But moving on, so on our list of our boxes, I've just realized I've got my shoe rack in the back there. Let me try and cover it like that. Anyway, things I forgot about. I packed my daughter's, all of like her first outfits, the special blankets and jerseys that she received from my grandmother's, which is her great grandmother's, all of the little heirlooms. We didn't bring big furniture, but I did bring all of those items, and I did forget about it. And going through it, it just brings like this bittersweet, this kid's growing up so fast. Oh, you're in the background, growing up so fast. And yeah, good memories, good times. So I thought that I'd show some of them, because it's all in the sake of craft. And as much as I'm a die-hard crochet, I do enjoy sewing. I do quite a bit of sewing, although I'm not going to show you the sewing that I've done lately, because I'm making a little doll. I cut too close to the sewing, and I have to re-sew it because now I've got holes in my legs. So this is something very special. My grandmother, who partially raised me, we refer to her as Gaga, because when we were kids we could not say Komia. They're from Mauritius, and she crocheted this little cape, being raised Catholic, on the christening. Look at this beautiful cape. Sorry, it's not doing it much justice. But the thing that makes this so special is that she did the pattern out of her head. And this pattern is her mother, so my great-grandmother, my Komia. Isn't that stunning? Just out of her head. How neat and tidy. So my grandmother taught me most of what I know today. And the thing is that she doesn't know how to read a crochet pattern. But if I buy a pattern, I make pretty butterflies and little doilies and whatnot, and I send her a photo. Truth Bob, that woman sends me a photo an hour later of something better that she just pulled out of her head. So one day I will be like my grandmother. Until then, I'll just fumble along. This is something I actually made for myself, for my bedroom. I have a little, they call it a low boy. I know it as a chest of drawers. Yes, a low boy. So for my small chest of drawers at the bottom of my bed, this is actually a free pattern, which I almost bought on Etsy, but Ravelry had it for free. So I will happily tag it. It's actually for a table runner, but I made it. Isn't that pattern beautiful? Look at the bumps. Isn't that stunning? I will put a photo of it spread out in its place. I was very chuffed that this is going to go on the little cupboard at the bottom of my bed. And then my little makeshift dressing table was looking very bare. And I thought, since we're on this roll, let's just cut the pattern and make a little one. I think that this pattern is beautiful. So I will share that. And I also started making my own pattern, because when it comes to blankets, that's what I did first. It's the only thing I knew how to do for years. I've been crocheting since I think I was 13, 14. But all I did was literally a double crochet. That was it. And a chain. That's it. And I went around. And it wasn't until I met my friend Cassandra, who's actually at Craftably Ever After, at my previous employee in South Africa, that she taught me how to read a pattern. And once I got the hang of it, we just went with it. And she helped me identify, obviously, reading the pattern and the stitch. So I think I picked it up relatively quickly, because I had already been crocheting. I just didn't know the names of the stitches and so on. So we're going on about 7 years of physically crocheting as an amigurumi toys and reading patterns. So I am in no way an expert. However, I do have a little bit of knowledge in the field. And something exciting to bring to that, 2 young ladies and their mother saw some of my toys, and now they want me to teach them. How exciting. A lot of crafters know that when people see your craft, they think, oh, can you make me this? And most of the time they're referring to something that's knitted. I can't knit. I can try, but I'm not very good at it. Most of the time they never want to pay what you want to charge. And half the time they don't understand why you're taking so long to do the project. So when someone comes to me and says they want to learn, I was like in my element. However, I was not the best teacher, because I showed them a pattern. Now I'm rambling completely off subject. We'll get back to my boxes just now. I showed them the squish pattern that my friend Cassandra at Craftably Bear Ever After designed, because I made this little one. Isn't that gorgeous? Evelyn, my daughter, every time she sees it, she picks it up off the table and runs around with it going, oh. So this pattern is super easy. It is so quick, and how cute. But the yarn that you use is not beginner friendly, people. You got to be kind to this yarn, because you can't just pull it out. You can't frog. It's just like once you put the stitch where it is, that's it, baby. It stays. So a lesson for the teacher. Good pattern, fantastic pattern. Not the right wool. But anyway, we're getting there. And moving back to my list, because I so terribly started rambling off. Little jerseys that Evelyn's great-grandmother, my husband's mother, knitted in lockdown. This is only one of them. The rest we left in South Africa to pass on to my sister-in-law, who is also expecting a little girl. Yes, I get to talk about it now. very exciting. But these little special things, more special things from my grandmother, the woman who can crochet and knit anything but can't read patterns. She saw this photo. It was a blouse, if I'm not mistaken, a crochet blouse, and she loved it so much she decided to make Evelyn a blanket. Look at this, people. Isn't that stunning? Again, the way I'm holding it doesn't quite give it justice. Blankie 1, blankie 2, super baby soft little things. So there's the little blankets. Things that I forgot I packed. Let me go back to my list now because I went off on a tangent there. Bows. My husband's cousin made these beautiful things, and they are beautiful. I forgot I packed them. I also didn't realize how many I bought. So this is maybe a craft in the future to come. These are themed. Look at that. They are themed. So this is Frozen themed. Bows and hair ties for the little girls. This is my all-time favorite, Beauty and the Beast. I can't remember what that one is. This is Snow White. How stunning. So there's a whole variety of colors. Now I'm trying to think which theme goes for which bow, because I've caught myself out. Oh, Ariel from the Little Mermaid. Look at that. Handmade these. Another Frozen one is a bit more obvious. If I'm not mistaken, this has something to do with Alice in Wonderland, but I can't remember off the bat now. I know this was the Queen of Hearts. So all these little bows, I had a whole container, and I'm like, completely forgot. Out of brackets, completely forgot. Next one, a whole box of safety eyes and noses. This is never not wanted, so I will use it. Old glasses, old pairs of glasses, because if you wear glasses, you know you can never just have one pair because you somehow leave them or sit on them. So things I forgot. Flasks. Apparently I have a flask fetish. I have different shapes, sizes and purposes. I see a whole lot of ladies with these big flasks and these straws, and I'm like, oh, I want me one. So things I forgot. Next, yes, my yarn bowl. This I got from I ordered from a company in Port Elizabeth in South Africa, so a completely different province, if I want to say state, to where I used to say. And what was so refreshing about it is the circle that it has on the front, and I didn't realize it until I got it now, bearing in mind I completely forgot that I packed it. Look at that. Isn't that lovely? But this makes me think of the fern, and in New Zealand that is a big thing, the fern, especially this sort of symbol, because it is the Kora symbol, which is change. However, things stay the same, but there's new change. It's never ending sort of, and it's the silver fern. So little things that I know that speak to me, little things that speak to me. And yeah, so there were a couple of more things that I forgot that I packed, like these beautiful little dolls. There's a whole collection of them. Yes, they're very old. These little dolls, I grew up watching my grandmother put them beautifully on her shelf, clean them, talk to them. And when she downsized after my grandfather passed, she shared them. So I've got 3. And every time Evelyn sees it, she's like, oh, again, things I forgot that I packed. So all these special little things. Moving on to things that I've missed. Something silly is like my fleece and my jackets. It is silly, but it's a source of comfort for me because I'm a comfort person. I'm all about if it's comfortable. I only packed one jumper, so to say, in my suitcase, and after 9 months of that thing being worn day in, day out, coming to New Zealand with it being a bit cooler and wetter than us Northwesterners are used to, we used to hot weather, we were pretty cold. So that jumper is now my home jumper, absolute home jumper, because it's ruined. I ruined it. Things I missed: shoes. It's been nice to put on a different pair of shoes, like have a small variety. It's silly, I know, but having more than 3 pairs of shoes is lovely. Shoe lady. I've missed my wool, not necessarily because I crochet so much, because I do crochet, but I just miss mostly looking at it. And I'm going to use a new program to edit this video. So if you see photos on the side, you know that I got it right with my editing. If you don't, then I did not. And it will be at the end of the video like it always is. But knowing that I've got a box of wool here that I've vacuum sealed and packed in a box, and I can pick up a pattern, most patterns, and I can just make it because I got the wool, I got the eyes, I got the nose, I got the stuffing. That is awesome. Next, things that I've missed is my Tupperware potato peeler, and I will try and remember to put a photo. And here I'm moaning in the back saying, well done. Something silly, but get yourself, ladies, an original Tupperware potato peeler. It will change your life. And yes, that's just like the top things that I've missed. Bearing in mind, I just missed having different clothes, having warm clothes, cool clothes. It's a whole lot of silly little things. I did pack photos and everything like that in. It's quite hard so when you go through those sort of things, because as excited as you are to be in your new country that you've worked and you've waited so long to come to, it's still hard so. So, moving on. Things that I can't believe I packed. We had a fat laugh. Let me just tell you. I packed coat hangers, people. I don't know what I was thinking when I packed the coat hangers, because, you know, you can go to any shop and buy it. Anyone. Even in your local grocery store, you can get coat hangers. Anyway, they weren't even fancy ones. They were just good old white plastic coat hangers. Number 2, my calculator. And there's a thing about a calculator. So I've worked majority of my career in some form of finance position. So being the bursar at my previous employer, and before that a creditors officer, and even now I'm an administrator and I work on an accounting system. So my calculator is I'm very sentimental about it. And it's because one of my lecturers, thinking back, my lecturer said, when you have your stationery, your personal stationery, you got to label it. And you got to name that baby. You got to brand that baby. You shouldn't say baby, she said something else, but it's not appropriate to say it. So I'm going to say brand that baby. And when I pulled out my calculator with my name on, it's a general calculator, nothing fancy. My husband looks at me and he's like, really, Jasmine? Really? You couldn't just leave the old bloody thing and bring a new one, or buy a new one? No, I had to pack it. So, my calculator. And I don't even know how to reset it so that I can change the tax on it. The GST, as we call it here. I knew it as VAT or tax in South Africa. Here it's GST. So, I packed swimming disposables, like swimming nappies. Okay, you can buy it in any shop. I don't know what I was thinking at the time. Rulers. I found about 4-5 mini rulers. Peter, my husband, says to me, could you not think of packing maybe a full-size ruler? You had to pack 5 small ones. No, because I don't know what I was thinking at the time. It was too long ago. Next, Munchkin sippy cups. I had one on the table here to show you, but the kid ran away with it. And I brought all these fancy Munchkin sippy cups, and then the little uses a reusable plastic mug. A reusable one. Like, hi. Hi, puppy. 1 second. Apologies, and we are back. So all of these sippy cups, and she just wants to use an old cup that previously had fruit juice in it that I bought in a normal store. What a waste. So silly things, funny things, things that I wanted to show. This is my previous brand of, well, in South Africa we just say wool, but I'm referring to it as yarn because it is yarn. But any wool, my friend Cassandra actually said this the other day, any wool is referred to as wool. Doesn't matter what it is, what's the content, what it's made of. Yarn is wool. It is wool. It is translated directly, it's wool. But when I refer to wool, you think it is a sheep's wool or it's merino. No, in South Africa, wool is wool. Wool is wool. So this is what I used. It was not my first option, but my first option was actually charity wool. But the problem with it is the different colors had different thicknesses, so it would make the amigurumi toys come out horribly unshaped, horribly. But I did swap to this one, and it was smiles all the way. If only I knew, because I mean, this wasn't the cheapest one available at the time, and I used to be like, oh, you know, it's a bit pricey here or it's pricey there, and people would moan and say, oh, but you use pulse cane. Yeah. And now living in New Zealand, I was like, this is very cheap. It is very cheap in comparison to wool in New Zealand, sorry, yarn in New Zealand, all of it. Things that I wanted to show. So this is one of the bars that I found this week. Again, this is a Kmart. We never had Kmart, so this is like, wow, my Kmart bar. Growing up, my mother did these. So I know it as macrame, but whenever I hear people talking about it, they talk about macrame. I don't know. I don't know, but I grew up knowing this is macrame, and she had green fingers when it came to ferns. So when I see these, I think, and this is back with like a, yeah, it's back. And we're talking years ago, it was the thing. If you knew how to do these sort of knots and tugs, you were the cool kid. So yes, again, in my boxes, macrame book, and we'll get to that point where when I'm actually got time to finish all of the nonsense that I've got going on with my normal crochet and sewing, that I can try these things. It's always nice to have a side piece just so that you can get your head clear, something new, something fresh. It's exciting. You dabble here, you dabble there, and it keeps on going. Hello, my darling. Yes. Oh, sorry. Yes. Ow, ow. Apologies, everybody. Wanted to show, so two of the last crafts that I did in South Africa were blankets, and it was actually an actual wool blended yarn. Let me say that right. A worsted wool blended yarn, which is not something that I used every day, but I really enjoyed it, and it is super warm. It was super stretchy, and I loved it so much. See, I started making Evelyn a blanket. So these are the last things that apologies, that I made in South Africa was, and this is just my normal little granny square, nothing fancy, just a little blanket. See, funny little border, nothing fancy, but technically I completed it in New Zealand because I saw that I was in such a rush just to do the blanket and pack it in a box that I didn't sew in my ends. So hours to make, maybe 10 minutes to finish, but it's finished here in New Zealand. So, and this is Evelyn's one, this was my one. So mine was a little bit bigger. You can see similar border, but it's my own little pattern. So I can't even say I'm happily share it because it is a general, just a granny square shell sort of thing. So I'm having while recording this, but I'm set on recording this video today because this is not my first attempt, and I'm going to try and put a photo. How many times I've tried to record the video last week already, but little miss was just not having any of it. Going on the things that I've actually created in this time, I have started my Mary for my nativity scene, my table runner, and the small piece for my dressing table. I have started a new blanket, and it's because I love the pattern of how it looked, the table runner, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to play around and I'm going to do my own little thing. So I have started. It is nowhere near finished. This is worsted yarn. Look how stunning that color is. You know, when it's the neutrals, I love it. Also, again, this was mill ends from Spotlight, and I found 2 bags that looked similar. So it was the same wool, but with mill ends, they don't give you a tag. Not that I always look at the tags, because a lot of them aren't right. But this is what I have so far with me playing around with making a blanket pattern. And if I get it right, I will need some testers. So if anybody would like to be a tester, pop me a mail and I will happily forward it when I get to it. But just so you can see, oh, not the best side to show. Look at this side. Don't know if you can see it properly. Let's just start. Everything's got to start somewhere. So that is my creation coming along. I did the squishy. I also started a big one, but I think I didn't have the right amount of stitches when I ended. And I don't like the eyes that I use. So not finished, but there's the size difference on the big and the small. You can see that my eyes are in the wrong place. That's because I did not count my finishing stitches. Trying to be a teacher, but I'm still a student. That's what happens. But I'll get it right because I love them. And next I'm going to try the bunny. Yes, Cassandra, I'm going to. And looking at, I did complete something else, but I'm running out of time because I think I'm already on like 23 minutes. But this is a catch up because I haven't been on air for a while. But I do have a lot going on, and we are finally going back to some form of normal. And yes, we say thank you very much for everybody for joining me and listening to me rant and go off complete subject, but also just thank you and be safe out there. And I've got lots more to show, and you will have another video in 2 weeks time maximum, because I got to keep up with it. And yes, got a whole lot of free patterns that are coming up because I've realized I've got so many, and there's so many I want to try, but I just need to put my head in the game. But thank you for joining me, and I'm going to keep up with my saying and say, stay humble and hustle.